Hello. Today we will be solving the problem of evaluating the expression on LeedCode, which is problem number 150. So this problem is basically uh, we have to solve basically using a stack. So here we have been given an input in which the input consists of an input and array, which consists of string elements. The string elements can represent a number or an operator, like the mathematical operators like plus minus multiplication and division. So like going through the questions and the description and the example, I came up with a pattern where I noticed that if I created an integer, created a stack of integer where I would be pushing all the elements of an integer until I come up with an operator. Once I found an operator, I'll pop the two elements from the stack, apply the operation, and then continue the execution. So here I'll go through the solution that I have written over here. So here, as we see that we have been given a string of tokens. So basically this tokens is nothing but an array of 10, 6, 9, where 10, 6, 9 are basically string elements. So I started by creating a stack, as I told you. Like, so let's take an example and evaluate using the first example over here, where the input tokens consist of 2, 1, 3, and multiplication. So I initialize the two numbers and the result. So basically this is what this would do is like this would pop the value, store it into the first number, while this would get the second number, and whatever result we have we can directly push into the stack. uh, I just created an extra parameter over here which is not required, but it's makes the code more readable according to me. That's the reason I've created it over here. So as we go through the, so here I have four if else if conditions over here, where everywhere I'm checking what operator it is, and based on that I'm performing my mathematical operations and pushing the values inside the stack. So if I'm not, if my token is none of the if else blocks, then in the else block I'm just pushing that integer into my stack. So if I consider this input over here, it is my node. So nodes, okay. So I'll create a stack which is so this is my tokens array over here, which is 2, 1 plus comma 3. So I created an empty stack. So stack as of now is an empty stack. So it would start iterating through the entire string. So token of I, which is 0, which is 2, is equal to plus operator, which is not. Similarly, it would try to check and it would go into the else part, and my stack will be updated from empty array uh, to the number 2. Second element, like at the index, so let's keep a track of I, which is 0. So at 0 I got the token value. Also keep a track of the token. So let's keep, I got the token. So it was there was no mathematical operator involved, so it was pushed inside the stack. So when I was incremented to 1, so the token value was incremented to 1 over here. So I pushed the value inside my stack. So when the I was incremented to 2, I got a mathematical operator which is plus. So the first condition would be satisfied. The result would be evaluated, which will be like number 1 plus number 2, which is, so basically here I would be popping out the two numbers and my stack would be empty. After the addition, I will be pushing a value inside my stack. So the output would be 3. So the value inside the stack would be 3. So then the I increments to 3 over here, and it would get the token which is 3. So again, it would be basically getting the value. It would be getting the value from the, sorry, I missed it over here. Okay. So first it would be pushing a 3 inside a stack, mm, pushing a 3 inside the stack, and then it would be taking a mathematical operator which is multiplication. When the I value is 4, it would be popping out the, and then it would be entering into this second last else if condition, and it would be popping out two numbers and multiplying them and pushing the values. Okay, it will be multiplying the two numbers and then pushing the values 3 into 3, which would be 9. And then like when I increments to 5, which is the for loop condition would break, it would come down to the return and it would be returning the last value, which is 9. So if we run this, our first condition, our test case is this in this the last example in this case. So let's update the test case from, let's run the code. Also here, I would like to highlight a mistake that I came across while I was executing, like while I was trying to run the code. So if I take the last example over here, and if I try to run using my current logic, so we see that the output value is 1 minus 198. This happened because, so if I take my current logic in this, if I take my current example, not, yeah. So what it did over in this case was like it iterated through the entire tokens array in this case, and so it kept pushing the values of 10. Just let me reverse back. I had a system.out.println. So yeah. So basically, if I run the example right now, it will using the system.out.println will print the values in the stack as it goes through. Let's print it again. So this was the value that we saw. It is like minus 198. If we try to debug, we'll come to understand what is a smaller mistake that we can do it. In this case, is like assuming if I'm iterating through my current logic and if I'm pushing the values until I see the operator. So what would happen is like it would first put 10, it was like then push 6 into the stack, then 9 into the stack, and then 3 into the stack. So as soon as it sees a plus operator, it would try to retrieve the last two values and do the sum over here, and the updated value is 12. This is perfect. As we see in this example, this is doing exactly what it is supposed to do. The same thing would continue, like it would push minus 11 and it would do the multiplication and we'll get the value as minus 132. So this is the value in the current stack, so which is 10, 6 and minus 132. So over here in the division, so we see that here they are dividing, it's like 6 divided by 132, whereas in the current logic what is doing is dividing 132 by 6. So that's the reason we are not getting a proper output over here. So in order to rectify this error, we just need to switch these values from num to num1. This would fix the division operator. And if we like run the code, this is the issue which was giving us a value of 198. So if we continue the execution, it is like it is it would do multiply 22 into 10, which is the next operator, which will give 220. Then it would push the value 17, try to add 17 into it, and it would give us a value of 203. Then it would push a integer value of 5. Then it would try to add minus 203 plus 5, which will give us minus 198. So this is the reason why we are getting minus 198. So for example, if we just swap the values of num1 divided by num2 with num2 divided by num1, and if we try to run with the current test case, we see the value, like we see it's following the execution pattern which is required. So I'll walk through it again. It's like it kept pushing the values till 3. It added the values, and the last value was 12. Then it pushed the value as minus 11, multiplied it, gave us 132. So here, while division, it did 6 divided by 132, which gave us a value of 0. Then it added, so then it multiplied 10 into 0, which is 17. Then added a 5, which made it 22. And it returned the last value of the stack, which was 22. So there is another issue in this code that is that we'll test that with one of the test cases in the from the LeedCode. If we try to submit this, it will break in one of the test cases. So yeah, so it breaked here because it subtracted 3 minus 4, which gives us minus 1, but it should have subtracted 4 minus 3. So this is a small change that we need to do in the subtraction. So similarly over here, we need to subtract number 2 minus number 1, because it's like in the stack, it's like this is a number 1 and number 2. So I push this value, which is number 1, and this is the value which is assigned to number 2. So let's grab this, make it our test case, and try to run the code. So yes, see, it subtracted it properly. It assigned this value as num1 and num2, and then tried to subtract num2 minus num1 and gave us a proper value of 1. So if I submit this code, it would execute and the solution is accepted. We see an runtime of 2187 because I have system.out.println written everywhere. So if I just comment it out, all my system.out.println, and then try to submit it again, we see a drastic decrease in the some runtime, which is 4 milliseconds. So anytime in LeedCode, if you see it's a higher runtime, there might be that in the code you have a use system.out.println. And here also a small thing that we need to I need to highlight you is like every time I'm pushing the value, since it is a string, I'm parsing it using integer.parseInt to get the integer value and then push it into my stack. And every time for the operators, I just make sure that instead of parsing this or getting the using the ASCII code, I just use a normal mathematical operator over here to sum or divide or do the mathematical operations. Thank you.